TGIF, thank God it's Friday, and welcome to WWT Live, where there's an awful lot on the docket on what is going to be an extremely busy weekend in the space of pro wrestling. Lock in tight because it's time for WWT
Hey
Live.
guys, how are y'all? It's your girl Kaylia Capri, better known as _ Lexini, and you are watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Friday, all my good people, and welcome to WWT Live as part of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. I'm the professor. You haven't seen me in about a week or so, so if you're brand new, yeah, it's just me, GB, Gerard Bonner, the professor, Teflon G. I've been given a lot of names recently, and, well, a certain boss lady isn't here to defend or deny some of those names, quite frankly. So we're going to have some fun today on a full show where we're talking big PLEs coming from NXT, TNA. We've got Smackdown to get ready for and more. But no, I am not alone. I've got some friends hanging out with me today. Let's see who's up first.
On from at All Star Fandom.
Quite frankly, you need to go back to the drawing board because your game absolutely sucks.
Dion is officially in the building. How are you, kind sir?
Doing all right, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. The hits just keep on coming, so we just keep on moving. But yeah, I'm good, man. It's good to be back.
Yeah, glad to have you back, man. We
Thank
like
you,
Law and Order is back in WWT. It's great.
Oh boy, I'm scared to ask what happened while we were away, and perhaps this elite person might be able to tell us.
Jersey, WWT resident AEW expert Courtney NJ11.
I said
Courtney's in the building. Courtney, how are you?
hello, happy Friday. It is
Happy
Friday.
Friday.
I'm excited to be here. There's a lot of stuff happening. We do have Smackdown tonight, Bound for Glories this weekend, Halloween Havoc is this weekend. So there's a lot of PLEs happening in the wrestling world.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on, but you know what we do around here. We take care of all of that as we can. And of course, well, there's a councilman in the house, and I wish I had like official things for him, but I think someone would welcome him this way.
He was special.
The councilman's in the building. Councilman, how are you, sir?
I was not ready for that one.
Surprise, surprise.
Oh, man. Great to see you, Professor. Great to see you.
Good to see you, sir. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling great. It's 3:00, my favorite time, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, man. So glad to be here. How about yourselves?
Doing good.
Great.
Yeah,
good.
great.
I cannot complain. And of course, we're going to round out the crew today.
It's the Queen Bee
With
of
this.
WWT, Wrestling with Honey with.
Honey Pop Predictions.
Honey is in the building. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm doing good. Happy Friday, everybody. So glad to have one half of the parentals back to keep some things going, to keep things in order, as Dion said.
So tell me, did the wheels really fall off?
I wouldn't say they fell off. I would say they were buckling. It was buckling.
Oh.
They were loose.
Little buckling.
More to the people in the comments. I think we did a great job. There
You're
was
right.
some in the comments that were just like, oh, the parents aren't here. Oh, let's say how we really feel about it.
That's usually how it goes. That is usually how it goes. So yeah, I will there are certain details of this trip that will come when TK gets back, because I just think it'll be fun to hear our experiences. But needless to say, we did have a really, really good time. at All Caribbean. The Bahamas were amazing. They always play a great host to us at All Caribbean Wrestling. And there's some really amazing things coming very, very soon for All Caribbean Wrestling. We had a couple of debuts. I don't know if you guys have heard yet of some of the debuts, but former WWE superstar Kalisto is now signed to All Caribbean, which was wild.
Nice.
And then we had the shocker, an attack on Kenny King, because every hero needs a villain, and that being the villain Marty Scurll. So some big things are happening in All Caribbean. Yeah, it was a wild time. And also shout out to Kalia Capri, who became the brand new All Caribbean Wrestling Women's Champion. We made history. It was the first all women's main event in the history of the Bahamas. And she is the first Bahamian-born wrestling champion ever.
Love
so
that.
This is great history that we were able to make it All Caribbean. And so shout out to everybody connected to All Caribbean. You guys will be able to check this out sooner than later. And I'm excited, and I'm sure there will be more conversation about that when TK returns. But there's other big action to talk about, of course, as we're talking about flagship shows, which we'll get to at TNA. The show of all shows, WrestleMania 41. We are definitely on the road there. I know some people say that the Royal Rumble officially kicks it off, but whenever tickets go on sale, we're officially on the road there. And let's just say that there's been a wee bit of controversy surrounding ticket prices for WrestleMania. People were kind of saying a lot about the pre-sale and why ticket prices seemingly were skyrocketing. Checked right before the show, and to get floor seats in the 4th row in the center for 2 nights is going $15,000. That does sound like a lot of money, but I do want to remind you that that's over 2 nights, not 1 night. It's the same seat both nights, so you get that ticket, you're locked in. But it is interesting because I think the thing that people don't necessarily know about is this issue in terms of what people are calling ticket gouging on Ticketmaster is not exclusive to WrestleMania. A lot of the fans of Taylor Swift had this same concern when it came to pre-sale and others. The system that Ticketmaster has is one where it kind of starts, there's a base price that's put there, but then the price can change based on the demand. That is Ticketmaster, not WWE, not Taylor Swift, not any other entity. And so it's pretty wild. But with all of that said, and now that we're outside of the pre-sale and we're on to actual ticket prices, let's get your thoughts. WrestleMania seems to be going up every single year. Floor seats, $15,000 over 2 nights. Is it too much? Is it too little for the Super Bowl of pro wrestling? Let's get your thoughts. Councilman, let's start with you. You're a West Coast guy. Do these numbers kind of pan out for you?
Yeah, in a sense. I'm not gonna pay $15,000, and if I did, Roman better acknowledge me. He better come to my seat and put the one up right there. $15,000. But I've seen like Super Bowl prices, and they're way more than what's being charged, and you're not getting 2 nights. Also too, you get to keep your seat. Right. These are over like 4-hour shows. And so again, it's a once in a lifetime type of experience, even if it does come year round. Like if you're gonna pay that, you're gonna get you something dope. So and then too, it's Vegas and just everything that's surrounding Vegas, and the fact, for some of our elevated friends, 420 in Vegas.
Correct.
And everything.
It's gonna be.
This is how we. And so everything else attached to it, and that's around it. Wale Mania, like Raw, SmackDown, the Wrestling Fanatics thing. So it's just like, hey, like wrestling's going up, and so prices are gonna go up too.
And I want to clarify one thing really, really quickly, okay? Because I'm looking in here right now. I'm looking on the floor. It's 2 nights, $15,000, but that is also for 2 seats. So $15,000 is 2 seats, 2 nights,
and that's floor seats. Yeah,
floor seats. We're talking ringside.
That's not bad at all, actually.
Again, it's not as exorbitant as people are making it out to be. I saw someone in the comments, and I I'll have to go back and look, that said it was $2,000 in the nosebleeds, and that's not true either.
No.
I'm looking at this right now, and again, the default is I'm looking right now, section 409 for 2 tickets for 2 nights is under $1,000.
Okay.
For 2 tickets, 2 nights. So I think we just have to consider, I think what happens sometimes, which I'm just having a moment, and it's one of these moments that I've just been encountering a lot. Sometimes we don't think everything all the way through. We just see the first thing, whether it is a news item, a headline, and we just kind of run with it. So yeah, it is the price, and like Ticketmaster defaulted to 2 tickets. So if I looked at one, it might be a bit different. So just consider all of that as we're looking at our prices and the like.
And you get a chair, right? You get to take the chairs home.
If you're at ringside, I think it's like the floor seat, the first, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 rows. I'm not sure. So yeah. But with all of that, Courtney, is it too exorbitant there for WrestleMania?
Well, because WrestleMania is kind of like the Super Bowl of wrestling, the prices, I'm not really surprised, because as Councilman pointed out, it's when you see prices for the Super Bowl, it's ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous. And even when AEW did Wembley Stadium, the prices were ridiculous, even though it was outside of the US, and that's considered their Super Bowl. It was a little pricey. But at the same time, it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And especially if you've been a lifelong wrestling fan and never been to WrestleMania in person, that's also a huge opportunity as well. And also because we kind of know wrestling is starting to be a little bit more popular again. So that's also another factor to think about too with ticket prices. But ticket prices are pretty much going to be going up for a while, since it is starting to feel good again. But it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You're at WrestleMania, you're in Vegas, and also there's a lot of entertainment and also other things to travel around Vegas as well.
Just so y'all also know, Super Bowl tickets on the floor are $9,850 per seat.
And I want to go ahead and clarify something as well. So I just did another search. So I did search for 1 ticket, and so I've got a correction to make. So the 1 ticket on the prices I gave you were 1 ticket. So instead of 2, it's 1 ticket, but it is over 2 nights. So it's technically 2, right? It's the same seat on both nights, which again, if you get them separately, it's likely going to cost you more.
Right.
So that's one thing to consider. So again, even if I'm in the nosebleeds, $950 over 2 nights for 1 seat is barely $500 a night.
Yeah,
that's
not bad.
It's not bad. And I think people have to understand a couple of things. For one, this is WrestleMania, right? It is not the event. I want to say this carefully. Let me say it this way. The Super Bowl isn't priced for someone who's never gone to a football game before.
Right. Okay.
The Super Bowl is priced for the super fanatic, because those are the people who go to those kinds of events. You know, if you have a professional team in town, you know, there's the possibility you might go to a game. If you are planning to go to a Super Bowl, a World Series game, an NBA championship game, or WrestleMania, you understand everything is taken up a notch, or something along that line. So with that said, let me ask you this, Councilman, given all that has happened leading up to WrestleMania 40, and now with the possibilities for WrestleMania 41, do you think that whatever the prices are currently are worth it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You got 2 nights of a show. You got a wrestling show. Most likely you're gonna have celebrities that are going to perform. So you're getting also partial of a concert. Not only that, you get to be around, like you just said, fanatics of wrestling.
Yes.
Like it's a moment. Yeah, it's a moment like you don't want to miss. Like I went to WrestleMania when we first got back from the pandemic. It was, the energy in there was so magical. So it's just like, yo, it's worth it. Like if you are like, I'll say it like this: I've seen Yeezys that were like $200 be sold for $8,000. If y'all go and buy that stuff, I don't want to hear nobody complain about wrestling.
Yep.
No shade. There's no shade.
Nope.
Same thing for you, Honey. Do you think that whatever the price is will be worth it?
I think the price is the price, and it's doable. I think it's absolutely doable. It definitely makes sense. Considering that I've not only been, I went to the last one night Mania, and I went to 40, which was 2 nights, and I was in the mezzanine level, and still worth every penny that I spent because of the experience, because of the show itself and the attraction of the show, all the card alone, obviously. Yeah, and then you get to make some wrestling friends. I ended up hanging out with the same people in the same rows for 2 nights, and we were like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like we knew each other forever. And it's just a good vibe. It's just a feel good vibe. And yeah, like you said, super fanatics. This is a show for super fanatics wrestling fans. Definitely not for the casuals, unless you want to go and experience it for yourself and try it out. Save your pennies, save your coins up, and come join us. Come join the recklessness that is the WrestleMania.
And so I think that is the key, you know, people complaining or being upset about the price. I think ultimately you start to learn what you can and can't do. And if WrestleMania is a thing for you, you know, you'll definitely want to go. Now, the truth of it is some will go and sit on the floor. Some won't, you know, wherever you sit, you're going to be able to witness history. And given, it's going to be history. It's going to be fun. And unlike the Super Bowl, it is something you get to experience 2 consecutive nights. And then on top of that, it's not like a game 3 in you know, the World Series or the NBA where all right, you're not going to see the finale of whatever it is, you know? So if you get both nights, obviously you get to see night 1 and night 2. If you only go to one, I'm sure you will want to go to the other. So we will see. We have a lot of, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, was it worth it? And, you know, was it the best money I ever spent, even though my tribal chief lost? It absolutely was. It absolutely was. I'll never forget the pops from that night. I'll never forget where I sat. I'll never forget the moments. But you know what? I will blame somebody, and I'm going to blame Cody Rhodes. He ruined the timeline. It's a thing now. It's a thing now. He ruined the timeline.
When things were right, you got to experience how I experienced when he stacked Edge and Daniel Bryan on Bofa and pinned them.
Oh, you saw that one. Oh,
I saw that one.
Oh, crazy.
I got to saw the Fiend and Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton in the same ring in person.
And I think that's just it, right? There's something to be said in terms of the story of saying, I was there when this happened.
Yes.
You know, I can say that I was there when the streak was broken, right? Like there are, and maybe one day I'll tell you what it felt like in that room. I can't tell you how many times in life I felt like the world stopped and then went into slow motion. Like, but it's one of those things of when you're there, you have a different experience than those that are watching it. And being there is worth the price of admission. Nobody can ever take that away from me. And nobody will be able to take whatever you experience at WrestleMania 41. You mentioned something, honey, that I did not think of as we were putting this show together, but it's early enough to have the conversation. Since we were talking about WrestleMania, one of the big WrestleMania moments, of course, in Philly, was Cody Rhodes finishing the story, becoming the WWE champion. Yesterday, he celebrated 200 days as WWE champion. So let's have this part of the conversation. And I'll start with you, Courtney. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rank the reign of Cody Rhodes?
Oh, so bad.
Wow.
I don't see what's so funny here, but okay.
Well, I was like, I'm actually going to give him a solid 8 so far, only because I was really excited with him and AJ. I just wish it lasted a little bit longer because they had to drag the bloodline in because him and AJ went in that rivalry, and I kind of wish it was a little bit further. And I did appreciate the match that I know he's going to be in a match with Kevin Owens, because even though like AJ, he started out first and then he was dealing with the bloodline, and now he's going to be dealing with Kevin Owens possibly at Survivor. Well, before Survivor Series, he's dealing with Gunther and then possibly Kevin Owens. So I'm going to give him a solid 8 so far, because I know that there has been like not legitimate storylines, but I think when he goes into his rivalry after Crown Jewel with Kevin in the Survivor Series, I think that's going to be a really solid rivalry and storyline that's slowly cooking in the process.
Okay. Dion, how do you rate Cody Rhodes' 200-day championship reign on a scale of 1 to 10?
I mean, I don't want to go out of pocket, so I'll stop at a 9. I'll stop it there.
Okay.
And I see your face, Will. I'll tell you why. No, I give it a 9 because this is the first time in a very long time we've had a 100% baby face. That's it. Like, there's been so much gray, there's been so much in between with so many other people, that to actually have that baby face that you can root for was lost in wrestling for a while. I mean, it got to the point where John Cena was that, but y'all booed him so badly that, Cena, let's go Cena sucks was happening. So he hasn't gotten that in his 200 days or so reign, but I'm with Courtney too. It's more like he's been handcuffed to the bloodline stuff. Hopefully that's done. But his next story with Kevin Owens and Randy, I mean, that's setting up stuff from Legacy with him and Randy. So what's to come in his story is probably going to be even better than these last 200 days, because he's still been handcuffed by the bloodline stuff. The AJ rivalry was too short. But for 200 days on a run after WrestleMania, lean into what Crown Jewel and all this other stuff for War Games and stuff. By the time we get to Royal Rumble, we're going to know what that path is going to be for him and Randy and Kevin Owens. And there's history between all of that. Even Seth Rollins, a guy who was on one wheel, who took a bullet for him, right? So there's so many other things he can say. And what he has 1,116 more days to go until he breaks that other record that's out there. Oh, and he has that beef with The Rock too. So that's even like Cody's story from here to now. I'm here for it. I'll give it a 9 so far. It'll be a 10 by WrestleMania though.
Okay.
Never mind. I'm sorry.
Oh, honey, how would you rate the reign of Cody Rhodes on a scale of 1 to 10?
6.
6. Okay.
I'm giving him 6.
Do tell.
We're still in the beginning of this. I feel like we're still he may have finished one story, but we're still in the process of building his story as a champion. I feel like I don't want to use the words lackluster or anything like that around Cody, because I know Cody's a workhorse and I know what he brings to the table. And he's definitely one of the most popular out right now. But realistically, and I don't want to compare, but I just can't help myself that maybe he needs somebody, maybe he needs a wise man or somebody to tell us at a press conference that we're at like the third inning, just to let us know where we're at. Because I kind of still don't know where we're at with Cody. I still don't know where we're going with Cody. I like what he's been doing, but I'm on the fence. I'm just on the fence a little bit with the Cody reign itself. Cody building up to with the chase, hot fire all day. But I just I just feel like maybe there's just more, maybe there's just a little more. I don't know, maybe it's just me being picky or me just being very demanding as a fanatic, but I just think that there's just something missing for the Cody Rhodes title reign that needs to just cook some more. Maybe this rivalry with Kevin Owens is going to be the start of it. Maybe I'll feel differently towards the end of the year. But right now it's a 6 for me.
Okay. Councilman?
Before I give my rating, I would just like to acknowledge that Courtney and Dion are acknowledging that Roman Reigns' title reign had to be at least a 20 out of 10 if you're going to be Thank you for acknowledging your tribal chief and the excellence in his title reign. Same with my tag team part. It's a 6.5.
Oh, you actually gave a half on it. Oh, look at you.
I gave him a half on it just because, because of what and what The Rock did to him and how he beat that man outside of his tour bus. That was magical. That was just magical for me. But I say a 6.5. It's still off to like not a shaky start. He's a great champion. I just don't think the rivalries he's been given as much outside of the bloodlines has gotten a chance to take off and give us like a historic run. Like if let's say, for instance, he does lose it at WrestleMania, what we know now, his biggest thing is still the bloodline and then AJ's, which to Courtney's point, we're going to say is an asterisk because it didn't go as long as it should have. Mm-hmm. So I do hope though, like moving into from November till we get to WrestleMania, there's a lot of potential for it to jump a 6 to like where they say a 9. But I know that they're fans of that. But one thing I do need to say though is that we are talking about someone who is still second best because we know who's number 1 and longest reigning in the WWE that we have to acknowledge, who's had a way better run since she won her championship.
Bring it. Oh, yes.
In 202 days.
Oh, I knew it. I was waiting for it.
History making. Okay. Can we talk about it a little later in the show?
Oh boy.
He has stood and delivered on her championship run.
That's funny, said Joe Hendry.
In the words of said, you're looking at Roxanne Goldberg. Okay.
I will say this, and there's been a lot of different answers to this question in the chat. Jeffrey says he'll give it an 8. It's been decent. Boza says 8.5 out of 10. My thought on it is this, and leave it to me to look at some things that are other than what most people are looking at. I think one of the toughest things to happen, and we saw it, I go back to Kofi Mania. I even go back to when Daniel Bryan won the world championship. It's very difficult for whatever reason for a face to become champion and really capture and hold the attention of the people for an extended period of time. Mm-hmm. If you remember when Daniel Bryan lost the WWE championship, it was like a month after. And part of that was due to injury. But then you looked at Kofi Mania, who, while Kofi was champion for 6 months on paper, most of us were just excited still from Kofi Mania for him. There were not the kinds of numbers and stats and the like that we see surrounding Cody, we cannot deny that Cody, they say when you are the champion, you're kind of responsible for however the company does, because you're the guy who's holding all of these things. So you look at the fact that they had their largest gates domestically and internationally while Cody's champion. You look at, all of the goodwill that Cody has done. Then you have to look at things like, I don't know, the deal with Netflix that has come up under his watch. You look at the record-setting numbers and all of the things that have happened. It's been pretty remarkable that amid all of that, he's still a top merch seller over on Fanatics, which is a big deal because that's not just of the wrestling people there, but of all of the people that Fanatics does business with. He's a top seller there. So, I mean, based on all of those kinds of things, I'd have to go, I'll say 8.5. And the missing 1.5 is that we haven't necessarily had the game-changing matches. I do think we have had the presence of a champion and the proof that you can be a proverbial good guy and still capture the attention of the people. So interesting discussion for sure. Cody Rhodes, it looks like that reign's going to continue for quite some time.
I'll let you know where I'm at by Survivor Series.
Fair enough. and I'm sure how he does against Gunther will answer a lot of questions as well.
That too.
But speaking of all of those things, NXT made a big announcement in this last week that they will be going where no WWE show has ever gone before. The famed 2300 Arena, formerly known as the ECW Arena. NXT will take place there on a special night, not a Tuesday night, but a Wednesday night, November the 6th. Now, the reason for this, and I think it's smart, Election Day is November the 5th. They're steering clear of that. So they are doing NXT on November the 6th. And I see your mouth agape, honey. There's something you have figured out. A light bulb has gone on. And I don't know if it's this light bulb that once again, NXT and Dynamite are going head to head. This time it's on Dynamite's resident night of a Wednesday night. But I want to ask you guys, what do you think we can expect with NXT at the 2300 Arena? Honey, I got to go to you because the look on your face says something is very interesting.
I think the most interesting part about this is that, I mean, not to, I'm a fan of friendly competition, but we're going to have Tuesday Night Pharaoh now be Wednesday Night Pharaoh, and we got Stone Cold Courtney Wednesdays. So we're going to have a little ratings thing going on here. WWT, that's pretty fire. I like that. I was like, wait a second, it's going to be on the same night. But no, I definitely look forward to seeing a lot of cool things happening, especially the fact that they are going to be in this in this arena, ECW arena, it's classic arena. I was actually there during WrestleMania 40 week for the Busted Open radio party, which was really awesome. Saw the Dudley Boys, Sandman, Nick Nemeth, Mark Henry, Dave LaGreca, and they were hosting a party there. And shout outs to Kyle from Knockouts at 3 Counts, because we were also there as well. But this is definitely going to be something fun. I can't wait to see what Chef Michaels does with this, because I know he's just looking at this like a brand new toy, this location. And he's also you're probably going to see some legends. Definitely see some legends, I would hope, in this building. I just wonder how they're going to put it all together. I think it's going to be very, very special. So the anticipation for this is pretty high, and I'm excited.
Indeed. Courtney, I'll come back to you, Courtney. I got a question just for you. Dion, man, your thoughts on what we can expect at NXT 2300.
No, I think when we brought it up before, it's like NXT is still in all of WCW and ECW's old events and spaces and all that stuff. So if NXT is an offshoot of that, I'm all for it. But I think this is it's gonna be pretty dope to see this, because remembering the layout of that arena and to see NXT, I want to see how they dress the arena for it. If they go back old school with the brick walkway sort of thing, I would love to see that.
Yeah, wow.
But with things like that, like they're tugging on that nostalgia, and especially with it being on a competitive night, to say the least. Let's see who from ECW we can bring back for anything.
Better bring that wise man.
Yeah, my initial shot is like, before it starts, like all the other ECW stuff that happened in that arena, the lights, it will just be black and dark in the ring. Lights go up. Paul Heyman's in the ring. People are chanting ECW. Maybe they're chanting NXT this time, but I was like, that image alone will get me to not change the channel. But you gotta, and on top of that, it's a really good rub for the younger talent too. So if they're in a ring or in a match or get some sort of interaction with the ECW original or ECW legend, because I feel like they've signed a lot of legend deals as of late for this too. Well, just in general. So yeah, I think having that on a night of competition, that's how you make yourself different. And that's how you sort of get those eyeballs over to NXT. Let's put it in a different location, and let's shower it or have it with like so many surprises that you don't want to miss out on it.
So, Courtney, let me ask you. I know the last time that NXT and AEW went head to head, we saw where you actually viewed things, and that was on the NXT side. What will AEW need to do on November the 6th to cause you and others to keep your dial focused on that channel?
They have to really bring it, considering they are in full gear. I know so far they've only announced one match for that week, and that's Penelope Ford versus Jamie Hager. I just wish for Fright Night, because I know they announced Private Party and the Young Bucks for Fright Night. I just wish that match should have been pushed back that week, because that match is going to be crazy. And also, the storyline they have with Moxley and AEW, it is starting to slowly process, but this is where they really kind of have to push a little bit. And as I mentioned, they're heading into full gear. They need to announce some matches. They really need to really be spot on. And also considering we have not seen a few stars from Wrestle Dream also get into the fray. And I know, I think next week, Will Ospreay's supposed to be coming back because Kyle Fletcher called him out. But they really need to pull out all the stops and really need to put on some matches, especially heading into full gear. And also being consistency, that is a huge thing, consistency and stability. And also possibly bringing in some unexpected surprises that you may not see in the AEW realm.
Councilman, here's a question for you. We've seen the last few times that NXT and AEW have gone head to head. There's been a lot of focus, certainly from AEW, in terms of what those ratings look like. Does AEW, seeing that this is going to be on their normal viewing night, a Wednesday night, do they need to pull out anything special or just continue on the trajectory that they've been on?
Nah.
Oh my God.
You better go get all hands on deck for this already. It's just the potential of what's going to happen there, even just what's in my head right now. Like something Dion mentioned, lights going out, comes up, Paul Heyman's there. Even flip that, lights out, come up, Ethan Page is standing there mocking that, and then Paul Heyman comes out. We're all in this first hour. And because they didn't get this match at Halloween Havoc, we now know that we're most likely going to get Jada Parker versus Lola Vice in either an Extreme Rules or a street fight. That's just one match. That's not even to mention the cameos that might pop up. RVD coming through, the backstage segments that are going to be had, and just the simple fact that we have the best women's division in the world, and all of these stories have us interested. So there's no telling who even might from TNA might come through. So I would think not. And again, I'm not trying to say like they need to be worried about them, but I would definitely have AEW considering like, hey, let me stack this card, even kind of like they had last week on last Dynamite. Dynamite had a pretty good card this past Wednesday. So I think just try to keep that in mind. But I think they will. I think it's going to be a great Wednesday competition because just what Courtney said, Full Gear is coming up. So there's going to be a lot y'all have to digest during that time and get out. So I just think Wednesday is going to be a great night for wrestling, whether you're AEW fan or NXT fan.
Does it mean or does it feel like we're watching PLEs during the week now?
Oh yeah.
It feels like there's just a bunch of PLEs throughout the week instead of the weekend. I'm like, what is this world? But you know what? I'm here for it.
Yeah. I'm here for every bit of it.
And the tickets sold out in minutes for this event. Minutes. Shout out.
That's what I heard. So it's going to be very, very special. And it's going to cook something special. And I think you're right. We're going to have a great Wednesday night of pro wrestling. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Okay. So speaking of Dynamite, one of the big events that happened this week on Dynamite, Chris Jericho.
Oh my God.
Is now the Nueve. He is now the 9-time world champion and the 2-time Ring of Honor world champion. I
do have an interesting fact that I did see that Jericho's one of the only superstar who's won WWE championships, Ring of Honor championships, what else? WCW championships. Like he's like pretty much like trying to become another Grand Slam, but throughout the promotions, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, he is the only man to have held the world title in AEW, WCW, WWE, and Ring of Honor, which is pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible. But with it being pretty incredible, if you watched, you saw Chris Jericho won the championship, and no quicker than he won the championship, the music plays, Tomohiro Ishii shows up, and it feels like Mark Briscoe is completely out of the picture here.
Yeah.
Did we need Chris Jericho as the world champion in Ring of Honor?
I'm gonna let the Jericho. I'm gonna let the Jericho expert answer.
Well, that silence said it all.
No, I actually had to put myself on mute because my dog was barking. He wanted my attention. But anyways, I actually did watch that match. I know a lot of people were like, we don't care about it. I actually enjoyed that match, really, between Mark Briscoe and Chris Jericho. I understand why they want Briscoe to drop it, considering he's going to be in a feud with the BZCC aligning with the conglomeration. I can understand why they wanted to drop it and have Chris get the belt. And I think maybe a possibility that I don't know, they could bring more people into Ring of Honor because he is a veteran in this game, and they also have some people that are starting to wrestle in Ring of Honor, so that could at least draw a little bit of attention. Because if he's on Ring of Honor, we may not see him a lot on Dynamite.
Let me just jump in. Sorry, I got to jump in on this, and I've got to ask you. So you mentioned the idea of Chris Jericho potentially bringing more eyes to Ring of Honor. We did that about 2 years ago when he won the world championship, and it didn't do that. So I'm curious, what do you think is different now about Chris Jericho being the world champion that could bring eyes in your thoughts, in your theory, to Ring of Honor that he couldn't do 2 years ago?
I would possibly say, part of it, a little bit on the paywall, because Ring of Honor TD, but like you said, 2 years ago, it didn't work. I don't know why they're going to try it again. Maybe I'm just trying to be sarcastic on this one. Maybe he's bringing the learning tree into Ring of Honor and putting plants in. I'm just trying to be sarcastic about this. But I was being a little sarcastic about this, but that's kind of my case as well. But also, we see he's going to have a rival with Ishii. So also that's going to be interesting. And also I'm very curious on why. Maybe he's going to be bragging, or I don't know, probably be like this annoying little heel saying, I'm the Ring of Honor champion. And
Probably to piss people off.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this is pretty much what the gimmick is. It's pretty much he's giving the middle finger for everybody that's gave him heat go away. This is pretty much why he did the learning tree in the first place.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, Dion, because what I'm curious about is, I think, Courtney, you just mentioned this has been kind of the thing to get on people's nerves. He did that when he won the Ring of Honor championship the first time 2 years ago when he was the Ocho. He just finished doing that when he won the FTW championship, establishing the learning tree, calling it for the world. Now, again, the Ring of Honor championship. Is this whole idea of let's just make everybody upset to be champion, is that old hat? Is it not working? I guess in my mind, I still have not heard a clear, understandable reason why, with all of the people you have in Ring of Honor right now, why are we going to Chris Jericho as the world champion? Do you have any insight on that, perhaps?
Man, just that's a lot to unpack, Professor. But has Jericho been moving the needle for them in general? Like, if you just say like Jericho segments on Dynamite or wherever he is, does that put butts in seats in 2024? Is that Chris Jericho's role? I don't know, man. It's with all the young talent that they have, and you have that opportunity to make more people, even make more people with using Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho taking losses won't hurt him, but just to put the title on him to make people mad is like just an old thing to do. Like, I think more fans are like, okay, why does this make sense? Because we're all smart enough to know, like, okay, this could lead to this said rivalry, or this could lead to this up and comer taking out Chris Jericho that will come over to Ring of Honor. But I mean, I feel like it's old fashioned to try to do it. It's like a spit in the face of the fans and be like, hey, you're going to take this and like it. And it's been Jericho like that for a while, I feel like, in AEW. Again, huge, big Jericho fan.
I'm a fan.
His AEW run just wasn't it for me. Nah, unfortunately.
I
think there's other opportunities. Yeah, I think there's other opportunities for other people to move that needle for Ring of Honor too.
So okay, so let's talk about this and Councilman, let me go to you because I know you're one who doesn't normally watch AEW, and I understand Chris Jericho becoming the first AEW World Champion when you're trying to get someone that is familiar to come and watch the product. Given that most of the recent Ring of Honor World Champions, even going back to Eddie Kingston, spent very little time on Ring of Honor television, do you think Chris Jericho would be enough of a draw for you to go behind the paywall and watch Ring of Honor television weekly?
No. Nah.
So here's my follow-up to that then. Who or what would be the thing that would make you go, now I want to watch Ring of Honor?
Them actually doing something with it. As of right now, Ring of Honor is kind of like Rampage. It's just here.
Wow.
Oofa.
It's not promoted. It's not. If you think about it, like when do we talk about Ring of Honor? The last time we talked about Ring of Honor was when Athena became the longest reigning women's champion. On a week to week, I can't even tell you. I don't think for the last 6 months, Ring of Honor has come up as a discussion on WWT Live. We've talked about every other promotion. We've talked about CMLL. We've talked about New Japan, TNA, WWE, AEW. We never talk about Ring of Honor.
And there's so much talent there.
There is a lot.
And it's just not even brought up. And that's AEW's fault. And that's Tony Khan's fault. And even for Jericho's current career, matches this photo. That's his current. That's what it is.
That's a bad photo, by the way. Why would they pick that photo?
Like, who found this photo for this? But no, it's because this is what it is. It's just like, I get that, yes, you could put something on him, but it doesn't elevate it. There's so much in there. Y'all just are not touching Ring of Honor. So it's just like, hey, this is here, so you remember we have Ring of Honor over there. And you may be able to go check it out. I have no idea where to watch Ring of Honor at. I don't never know when it's promoted. I don't never know when it's talked about. Yeah, I don't hear anyone talk about Ring of Honor. And I think that's the more bigger discussion than just even having Jericho be the face of it.
And
is there no more like equity in Ring of Honor anymore? Like, is there?
No, I think it could be their NXT for AEW. It's just Tony Khan just doesn't put a focus on it, and that's the biggest problem.
Do you think maybe now that Jericho won the title, do you think that that's fake TK's way of ushering in to change that? I mean, I'm not sure why they would use Jericho, but is there anybody else that would you could possibly see that would make you feel like they would get a better job done with it?
I mean, unless they have, again, I don't know Ring of Honor's roster like that, but it has the potential for you to, and I'll say this to Jericho, and it may be debatable, but I think Jericho becoming the AEW world champion first ushered in being able to elevate Moxley to be one of those pillars in AEW. It also gave us more recognition when it came to Kenny Omega and for the rest of the people that have had that. So if there's someone that they think can carry, and Cody, and so if there's someone that they think can be like, yo, we want to make this guy the face of Ring of Honor, but we need him to go through the learning tree. Maybe that's what they're setting up, but you would have to tell me who's one of the top dogs in Ring of Honor right now in the men's world division. Because every time I've seen it, it's been, like I said, somebody from AEW. I think the last time I knew it was Claudio was the champion. And I don't think he faced anybody at Ring of Honor. And Samoa Joe. And he was like double champion. And then they took that off him.
Very interesting times for sure for Ring of Honor. Mark Briscoe was the last champion, and that's who lost the title here to Chris Jericho. I will just go so far as to say what else didn't make sense about the whole thing is Mark Briscoe beat Chris Jericho at Wrestle Dream.
Yep.
Successfully defended the title. So where does a champion say, I beat you? That's not enough. I want to beat you again, this time in a ladder match. Champions don't normally do that.
No.
Challengers usually request that.
Yes.
So it just didn't really make a lot of sense. And boy, the fight of Ring of Honor.
Could I ask, could that also maybe be in Jericho's contract that he has to be a champion a certain amount of time?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think he's not been a champion too long in AEW, because then he jumped from there. I'm not sure, but I think he may have been TNT champion at one point. Then this whole FTW.
No, he didn't hold the TNT title.
Okay.
There are several championships he has not held. Just the AEW world title is what he's held. And then the FTW title, and then this Ring of Honor situation.
Y'all are killing me in these comments.
The comments are wilding, and so
this is what we've been talking about. This is what we've been talking about. The comments are going off.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
In here.
I do have a question though, if I can, just real quick. Is AEW using too many older familiar faces when it comes to, I guess, the people they push to the forefront? Granted, they're going to push people that we've known from other promotions in the lot. They're going to put them in that light. Are they doing that too much to the point where I see Chris Jericho in this picture and my first thought is like, man, Chris doesn't look great. So are they just pushing too many? Because they have a good roster. I've looked at the roster list. I looked at the names, like I know these people. And I'm still seeing people who made the jump from WWE or somewhere else be put forefront to carry it, I guess. I don't know. I get using them in places, but you have a talented roster. They can come in and sort of help it. I don't know. I'm talking in circles, but I feel like I see so many familiar faces there that I'm like, But I like you in WWE.
Right.
Doesn't
But
work for you here.
You know what? I don't want to. I'm not gonna. Well, Boza says here, fake TK loves those who jump from WWE. I don't necessarily think that he loves them. I think that he relies on them in order to compete with WWE. Because it just makes it look like it. You could definitely tell that Tony Khan is literally trying to compete with everything that they've got going on. And he's panicking at this point. Why make this decision on a Wednesday night when you could have done it at Wrestle Dream on a grander stage? I mean, because that's what Jericho would deserve. Jericho has been the term GOAT. We've been calling him the GOAT for years. This kind of I don't want to say it diminishes it, but it kind of, dumbs it down a bit for us because the Jericho the Jericho we knew and grew up with in the 90s and 2000s and even later on before AEW was absolutely flawless, completely flawless. But I just think that there's just a lot of panic in that strategy room. I think Tony Khan needs to hire some more strategists because we were talking about it a couple months ago, that there's just no depth and there's no common sense into the booking. It just seems like he relies on those that jumped from WWE, and honestly he'll never recover because he lost his big one, which was Cody, and we have him now. So it's like, you can try to do that all you want, buddy, but there's so many other superstars that are just sitting back there waiting to be used and at the expense of wanting to work for you. And it's a waste of their time and it's a waste of their talent. Where are we ever going to get to see this showcase? And then nothing against Ishii. I know he's a legend and stuff, but I looked at that moment and I'm just like, why do I care about this? Because I kind of don't. I feel like I've seen this before hundreds of times, and it's like,
But you got to remember though, this is not the real the fake TK's fault. This is all. Did he not needed to finish the story? We wouldn't have this image.
He did the.
We would not see Jericho looking like this had he not had to finish the fable. He had to finish the story in WrestleMania. Wow. So now,
oh my God,
everybody's in the background now because he decided he want to change the timeline. Kane told us about this. You ain't supposed to do that, and Cody decided. I have to do it for my father. I have to do it for my dad. And then now I have to do it WrestleMania.
It's the voice change for me.
It's his fault. This is all Cody's fault.
Well, I will say, and I'm going to say this as kindly as I can, what we're seeing here is the challenge that does not want to be accepted when it comes to taking time to build stars. A star is not built overnight. Nope. And so, I think for anybody who studied the Monday Night Wars, the thing that WCW did was they took the names that the WWE built.
Same thing.
And they made, and the thing was they won big for 83 weeks.
They did.
But what turned the tide was that the WWE built new stars. So WWE didn't build stars off the back of WCW. Their top guys, look at them all. Triple H, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Austin, all of those guys were guys who became stars in WWE. They didn't come to WWE as stars. They may have even spent time in WCW, but WCW was like, we can't use you. You'll never be a star. You can't draw money. And then they come to WWE and do that. I think one of the big things that AEW is missing are homegrown stars, homegrown recognizable stars. And if you're not willing to commit at least 2 years to building them and making their story something special, then we'll continue to see this revolving door of former WWE stars who come in, they become champions. And, now with all of that said, I think there is a certain bright spot that's happening on AEW that we aren't talking enough about.
Oh boy.
And that's this guy.
Oh yeah.
Shelton Benjamin.
This was good. This was good.
Was.
I enjoyed this. I definitely
What
enjoyed it.
has happened with Shelton Benjamin and MVP ever since Grand Slam, to me, has been the bright spot of AEW every week. Courtney, are you feeling the same way when it comes to Shelton Benjamin, or do you have some other bright spot that you have been paying attention to in AEW over the last few weeks?
I am happy they are starting Shelton Benjamin off slow, considering he does have a match against Swerve, and that is where you're possibly going to see Bobby Lashley. You're going to see possibly Bobby Lashley on Fright Night. So I'm really excited for that. Also, I know and Jeffrey pointed out on some stars with AEW thinking MJF's the only star. Not particularly, because I'm ready for one of my clients, Orange Cassidy, to be pushed, because I'm going to tell you something. If you've never seen any of his matches when he was international champion, you need to. And I think this is the push that he needs on getting into the title picture, especially what happened with his best friend Chuck, because this is where we're going to see a side of Orange Cassidy that you don't even want to go. So they do have some stars. It's just, you have to push them. You have him. You have Darby Allin.
You have these guys.
You're also pushing Private Party, Daniel Garcia. I mean, you have the Acclaimed who came in, my other client, who just came in from the gate and just had a fan base from 2020 up until now. So they do have stars. It's just finding a way to build that, because they have the build. It's just really need to figure that out. But there are some stars in there that can do it. And for me, I'm really happy that Orange Cassidy, because this is where he really needs to really step up to the plate. And I have a feeling he's going to do that next week.
Yeah.
I think like you said, that's the biggest thing that they're missing, because they don't focus on storylines, Professor. You don't develop these characters. So you're looking at it now of like, okay, let me put the person that they know like this, that's either a WWE star or have already established, and I'm treating it like a professional sports league. Where it's like, yo, I brought these two people together. This is what you want to see. Okay, that's cool, but I want to see some homegrown folks. Like, who's going to carry? And I guess that would be the biggest question if I even got to sit in a room with fake TK. When all of these cats that have been here for a while, like your Jerichos and all of these, let's say when they decide we're hanging it up, who's the next generation? Who's finna carry you into the next 5 years? That's homegrown. And you can't answer that. And I think, too, that's why you had the Jade Cargill effect. Jade Cargill wanted to be there, but you don't have nothing established just yet on how this works for someone homegrown. And so that's why she left, because she know her time is a little bit limited. So it's like, yo, I have to go to WWE where they know how to establish that already. And it's just like, if AEW can pick that up and start seeing it like that, you can have folks like, to Courtney's point, Sammy Guevara, the Acclaim. As much as I see the Acclaim videos all the time, this crowd is behind them boys.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there. It's just like, so why aren't you paying attention? Why aren't you listening to your fans like you say you do?
I like where they're going as far as with Shelton Benjamin, but I worry because, you know, fake TK sometimes gets those new toys and they're there, and then all of a sudden they're not there anymore. Look at Malachi Black. Need I say more? But I mean, I like what they're doing so far with Shelton. I just hope that he doesn't fall under that same category where he gets lost in the sauce. And yeah. MVP is also a wild card to be able to help that, because he is great on the mic. He's also a legend. He's been in the game for a minute. And this is fresh talent on your roster now. You got to do something with this. And if you're bringing in Bobby Lashley, you better not screw this up, because they're not going to stand for it. They feel like they were wronged in WWE a few times, and they're here trying to turn over a new leaf. So we'll see what fake TK does, if he drops the ball or not.
So Dylan is having quite a bit to say over here. So let me just acknowledge this. All right. Let me
We acknowledge
it.
you, Dylan.
Yeah.
Why hasn't Orange Cassidy been the AEW World Champion? And then he specifically points this question to Courtney. And then he follows by saying he's had good matches. So why hasn't he been champion? In his Backstreet Boys voice, tell me why.
Tell
me why.
Courtney, tell the man why Orange Cassidy has not been the AEW World Champion.
He just went through my biggest weakness, and that's boy bands. That's one of my weaknesses. Dylan, you know,
me too, girl.
I know, but Dylan, go to your point. I think it was only a matter of time for him to be champion, because I think when they first started back in 2019, they didn't want to rush Orange Cassidy yet. And also, the international champion is kind of the top tier title to AEW, because normally whoever wins that title eventually competes for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So I think that was something that he's going to be doing. Dylan, you're going to be doing boy band references throughout the show. But anyways, I think for him being that international, and also for him, it was just a matter of time to build. And also because going back to Dynamite on Wednesday, the only person that does have a familiarity with Moxley in the BCC is Orange. He's been in matches. He has an idea. And also it's kind of figuring out exactly, because I know he was kind of in this weird situation where the best friends broke up. He's teaming up with a conglomeration. But I think with this pivotal point, and also what happened on Dynamite, this is definitely where he is going to get a shot at being champion. And also Moxley and the BCC really kind of hit it where this is the most important thing that's closest to Orange, is beating up on his best friend Chuck Taylor. Because we always see Orange as a cool guy thinking like, nothing's going to bother him and all that stuff. But if you attack one of his best friends, especially in drastic measures, this is where you're going to see that aggression. And I have seen that a little bit when Trent Beretta interfered in one of his matches, when he hit him with a wrench. And that was when you showed a little bit of aggression. But this, I want to see it really flipped over 360. And I really want him to have that. So I'm excited on how the road to Full Gear is going to pull up, because this is going to be interesting. And I am very curious on what Orange is going to say this upcoming Wednesday on Dynamite, especially on Fright Night.
Let's go buy some merch.
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen, not knowing what you want to do, like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. Alright? What you waiting for? Head to www talkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you.
This episode of Women's Wrestling Talk has been brought to you by All Caribbean Wrestling. Catch the wave. Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views, or go on the YouTube page at All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, go and check out their socials on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling and on X at All Caribbean WR1.
Sure, you're following us at All Caribbean Wrestling. Some amazing things are happening, and you'll be in the loop for some, just incredible things that are happening. 2025 is going to be a big year. But we come back to news from Jeff Jarrett, and this is really exciting news as he is now celebrating 7 years of sobriety. Congratulations to that. Jeff Jarrett. In the midst of all of the wild stories we hear in the sport of pro wrestling, when people make decisions to better themselves, we love to see it. And for someone who is a veteran, like Jarrett to do that. That is a really, really big deal. So kudos to Jeff Jarrett. We're excited for him. Quick news about the Elimination Chamber. You know, we already talked about WrestleMania coming. We know Royal Rumble is going to be in Indianapolis, but where will the Elimination Chamber be? Well, there was talk that it would be in the UK, but that talk is changing tremendously, and it looks like it will be international, but just north of the border in Toronto, or as TK would have me say it, Toronto. Apparently, the second T doesn't matter. But it looks like the Elimination Chamber will be moving back there. It'll be in March. So we'll be on the lookout for that. All of that, of course, on the road to WrestleMania. And before we get to any of those spaces, we've got to go to SmackDown. And we've got a full night on SmackDown tonight, which will include a face-to-face between Cody and Gunther ahead of their big match for the Crown Jewel Championship next week at Crown Jewel. It's hard to believe that Crown Jewel is next Saturday, which is wild. And this Sunday, of course, we have Halloween Havoc. So it's just going to be a very full time in PLE land. It never, ever ends. We love to see it. We'll also see Game 7 tonight. I'm pumped for this. Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes with LA Knight as the special guest referee. That should be something.
I can't wait for this.
This right here.
I can't wait for this. You already know this is going to be Chef's Kiss. Chef's Kiss, 5 stars, perfect 10s across the board. I don't care who wins, but yeesh, this is going to cook.
It's going to be a fun match.
Yeah, the fact that we're getting this, for those who are listening, we're talking about the tag team match for the #1 contender spot. DIY, Motor City Machine Guns. This feels like an NXT TakeOver main event, and we're getting it on SmackDown. As a matter of fact, this feels like this would have happened NXT TakeOver Toronto. Hey, mama put 2 T's in it. I'm gonna call it Toronto. There are 2 T's in the word. But yeah, it's going down tonight, not in Toronto, but at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, as they'll be in Brooklyn tonight for SmackDown. So that should be going down. That should be fantastic. And honey, we've got a watch along tonight. Is that right?
That is right. Absolutely. 8 o'clock. You know where to find me.
It's going to be very, very special. So, yeah, I'll save predictions for next week because we have other predictions to get into, including what's going down tomorrow night as, Fight for Paradise. You'll be able to check that out soon from All Caribbean. Again, so many cool things. One day I'll tell y'all the story about me and the APA. I'll do that another day. But what I will say is this: tomorrow night, Bound for Glory, the big event on the TNA calendar, their WrestleMania. The kickoff will be at 6:45 p.m. and it will feature Ash and Heather by Elegance taking on Xia Brookside and NXT's Brinley Reese. That should be fantastic. Also in the, there was another one in the pre-show, and that's this, the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. The winner of that will be able to basically call their shot for any championship in TNA, which should be amazing. So some big women's matches happening tomorrow night, including part of the triple main event, the TNA Knockouts World Championship, Jordan Grace, Masha Slamovich. Quickly, let's get your predictions. Who's walking out of here with the TNA Knockouts World Championship? Honey, we'll start with you.
I don't get sick of seeing these two going. I really don't. But I'm never going to bet against the juggernaut, Jordan Grace. That's my pick.
Okay. Councilman.
Man, I'm finna tell y'all, go ahead and slam and welcome to the jam. I'm going with Masha Slamovich is going to be crowned the new TNA Women's Knockout Champion.
I had that soundtrack.
All right.
Classic.
Courtney.
Yes.
Jordan or Masha?
No,
Jordan.
I know that's a interesting name, but this is definitely going to be a banger of a match. I picked Jordan last time, but I think we're going to have a new Knockouts champion. I'm going to go with Masha.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Dion.
Yeah, that name alone had my, once I saw it, I was like, yeah, I'm picking. So Masha Slamovich, that's golden, man. Like, that's just so good.
It's a great name and two very strong women. I think this is going to be a strong style kind of match. One of the other.
Whoa. Come
What?
on, man. We can't have this if the professor don't let us know who he's picking.
We got a lot of predictions to do. I'm trying to get through them. I don't want to.
Well, we need the professor's pick, though.
This is hard. I will tell you, this is really hard because I think if anybody could stop the reign of Jordynne Grace, it is Masha Slamovich. I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to go with Masha. It is it's TNA's big show. It's one of their main events. Could be the changing of the guard, and it could be getting Jordynne Grace ready for, I don't know, perhaps a crossover.
Full time.
She's gonna finish the story, y'all.
I mean, think about this. In most years, the TNA women's knockout division is usually the best in the world. But you got Julia, you've got the Core, you've got the former Delta, you've got, of course, Roxanne. Jordynne's going to want to be in that mix.
Yeah,
she's absolutely going to want to be in that
Jordynne
mix.
and Zaria, formerly known as Delta. I need that. I need that in my veins.
It's going to be right. We've got the World Championship on the line as one of the three main events. Will Joe Hendry be able to translate all of his viral ways into championship gold against Nick Nemeth? Who are you going with, Councilman?
Oh, man.
Damn.
Frank Kazarian is a huge monkey wrench in this decision. Oh, listen, I'm gonna have to just stick with Joe Hendry on this one, just because, I believe it's time. This is the WrestleMania of TNA. I believe Joe Hendry needs to lead the way in the 2025.
All right, your thoughts, Courtney?
Frankie Kazarian is going to be a little bit of a wild card of this match. And also, are we going to see JBL in this match too? Because he was in the last match Nick Nemeth was in. So he will be probably looking on that. But I'm going to go with Joe Hendry. He deserves some gold.
Okay. Dion?
Yeah, I'm gonna believe too, because Joe Hendry has had one of the best years so far, best career so far. This year, I guess. That TNA NXT crossover worked wonders for him, and I think that momentum leads into this too. I think you have to put the rocket on him at this point, so it doesn't, it doesn't like fizzle out without anything. But yeah, I think he'll take this one.
Honey.
I love Nick Nemeth. I love him. He's had a very healthy reign. He's a very deserved healthy reign. But that Joe Hendry syndrome is contagious, man. That thing's contagious. I'm telling you. And I think that, give him some gold for the rest of the year. And then, maybe he drops it and then shows up as a surprise for the Royal Rumble. That's me and my plan in my head. So.
He can't show up with the belt.
He definitely could. But
we've had two TNA women's knockout champions come out.
That is true.
It's only fair we get the TNA champion in the role holding the belt and the gold.
That would be sick. But yeah, either way, man, Joe Hendry, like he's too hot right now. Way too hot, no matter what.
Well, I think this is tough. I do think Joe Hendry will win, but it will be because of Kazarian. I think we're going to see kind of an Austin McMahon WrestleMania 17 kind of moment where Hendry partners with Kazarian, and that's how Hendry ends up winning the championship, which adds a whole new flair to Joe Hendry as world champion. I think if Hendry loses this, he doesn't get another shot at the world title.
I agree.
It's now or never, and I think he's willing to do whatever has to be done to make that happen. So We'll see. We'll see. All right. Moving on in the third main event, it is a Full Metal Mayhem match for the Tag Team Championship. As ABC, the System, and the Hardys go to war. We'll get your thoughts on this one, Councilman.
Oh man. God, this is hard. This is difficult. I'm gonna roll with ABC on this one.
Okay.
I think
Easy
ABC,
as 1, 2, 3.
yeah, I think they're gonna pull out the victory. I think we're gonna see some amazing spots though between all three of these tag teams.
Okay. Courtney.
This is going to be a fun match with tag teams wrestling. Finally, one of the 3 top matches in TNA. But I got to go with my guys. I can't go against the Hardy Boys. I got to go with the Hardys.
Okay. Dion.
One more run for the Hardy Boys. That's where I'm at.
That makes sense. Honey.
I'm a Hardy girl for life. Give me that 3-peat.
Oh, okay.
Yes!
I like it. There's a lot of momentum, I think, for the Hardys. And I think this is, again, another one of those now or never kind of moments for them. They don't have too many more opportunities. And I don't think they have too many more matches like this.
Yes. There's ladders and stuff. Come on.
Ladders. This is their element.
This is their forte. They does this.
It's their forte, but when you've done it for 25 years, falling off the ladder now, it's
true.
different than when you did at No Mercy in 2000. So
that is very true.
That's why I'm like, they go through one, they ain't getting back up as quick as they used to.
That's
but they're gonna do it. Jeff can't resist it.
That
Jeff
was
is gonna do
24 or
That's
25
wild when you
years
said
ago.
that. Oh,
last week
Ugh.
was their anniversary of the first ever ladder match. No Mercy.
Did you just say
1999.
24, 25 years ago?
Yeah.
Yes.
Last week was the anniversary.
Yes. So. All right, so we're going to run through the rest of these other matches, which include the Knockouts tag team titles. I'm excited about this. Spitfire going against Rosemary and Wendy Chu. If Rosemary and Wendy Chu win this, it will be the first WWE contracted star to win a TNA championship. So that should be extremely interesting. We'll also see Josh Alexander taking on Steve Macklin. The X Division Championship, this is going to be nuts. Mike Bailey and Vikingo. Like, I kind of can't believe this is going to happen, but it is. Moose and Mike Santana.
This is a thing? Oh, Lord.
Yeah,
this match hurts my head already.
This WrestleMania feels for real, man.
Yeah, like really. And then you've got PCO and Matt Cardona in Monsters Ball. Just crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of foolishness that's going to be happening here in this Bound for Glory card. Again, that's Saturday night.
Stop it, don't duck. So take a pick and take a phonograph. No paper, just a Philly for the ride slot. Peace, see you later. What's next? I know you love the way it's going down. What's next? I know you love the way it's going down. What's next? I know you love the way it's going down. What's next? I know you love the way it's going down.
I love that transition because I thought the professor was going to say, speaking of foolishness, and then I thought for certain.
Surprise, surprise. The mayor is here. How are you, Mayor?
I am solid. I'm sorry I'm late at everybody. I was in the aluminum paradise again. The Wednesday folks know what that's about.
Well, you came just in time as it's time to talk about our predictions for Halloween Havoc. But before we do that, one of the other big events happening this weekend is Ashe 6. It's happening in Charlotte Saturday night. It's going to be a big one. Karen Bam Bam Renee against Jada Stone. Jordan Blade makes her Ashe debut against Tootie Lynn. And if you're familiar with Jordan Blade, you know it's about to be a problem. Yaya will be there. We'll hear from Darius Carter. Also Ashton Starr and the Starwear Fashions. The debut of Khan will be there. Plus, we're going to get our first look at the Ashe Wrestling Men's Championship. I'm excited about that. A big tournament's going to be happening in December. We have several qualifying matches happening at Ashe 6, and we'll have the Pan-African World Title match as Shug D defends against LeBron Cozone. All of that goes down Saturday night as well. So very, very excited about that full weekend of wrestling, because we've told you about Friday, we've told you about Saturday, and now it's time to talk about Sunday. And of course, Smile Ashe is with you. You can check that at AsheWrestling.com. I'm doing commentary on that, and if you care, I'm doing commentary at Ashe 6 as well. Now to Halloween Havoc we go. This is going to be quite the PLE, headlined by this main event: Trick Williams once again, Ethan Page. I believe this is Trick Ethan 3 or somewhere close to that. Where are we going with this? And I guess here's the bigger question: who's walking out of here as NXT champion? Is it still two-time Trick, or is it two-time Ego? Your predictions. We'll start with you, Councilman.
I don't care.
Stop it.
Wow. It's a devil's playground match as well.
I don't care. It definitely should not be main event. But
wow.
If I had to, and this ends this finally, I would like to see Trick win just so Ego can go up.
Okay. So from the councilman to the mayor, who do we have here? Trick or All Ego?
So again, I'm keeping track of picks. I'm gonna write an article up before this, so I'll get everybody's picks after the show. I will say this is the only time it's felt like this match was deserving of being the main event. And the stipulation should help these two figure out whatever chemistry lapses they've had in the past two events. And I could be very wrong here, but I don't care. But the Ego's diss track was way better. And I think he gave himself so much momentum going into this match that he became undeniable as soon as he dropped it for this themed event. So I think, I don't know why. I think it keeps Trick looking strong. I'm going to say the opposite, because I think with everything we're seeing with Trick Williams, and I'm paying attention to his appearances on the main roster as well with NXT title, I don't think that's for no reason. I think they like to strike while the iron's hot. And I think Ego becomes champion. And I think for whatever reason, we see Trick Williams maybe start getting some more main roster appearances in the free agent war of Aldis and Pierce.
Interesting. Courtney.
I have to watch a diss track of Ethan Page.
Oh, you got to see it.
Very good.
I have to watch it.
Download it on your Spotify.
I have to watch it because I know I follow Ethan Page on YouTube and he posted it, so I gotta watch it. I do love Ethan, but I have to go with Mr. Trick Williams. I would love for him to still be champion.
Okay. Let's see, Dion.
Yeah, once that diss track dropped, I was like, yeah, I'm picking Ethan Page after that one. That 3-4 EGO was where it got me, man. I was humming it all day. But in the same way, like Cedric said, I think it's the other way around. Ethan stays, Trick gets called up. I think that's the role that'll play. But yeah, this one's worth a main event.
All right, honey. I think you guys know my answer. He's gonna whoop that Trick. I need two-time Trick Willie in the house. I don't care what nobody says. Keep Trick. I don't mind Ego moving up or moving on to something else. I really don't mind it, but I really want Trick to keep it.
So I know I know why I'm going to do this. So Jordan Kirby says, "What's with all these wrestling shows no one cares about? We only care about WWE and AEW." Now, let me just say for those who are listening that our friends in the chat are responding to this, and I appreciate it, but I want you to hear from me, and I'll simply tell you this, that how do you think WWE and AEW has what they have right now? They have it because of these indie promotions who are the ones that have next. Now, if you're unable to access these promotions right now, there are plenty of ways to access them. Ashe Wrestling, you can check out at ashewrestling.com. The entire catalog of what Ashe is doing is there. All Caribbean Wrestling, you can check out what they're doing at their website. You can also check. No, Jeffrey, I do have to go into this, but I'm going into it extremely kindly, as you all are knowing.
Yes, I thought the gun was about to come out.
No. In addition, pretty much in 2024, almost any indie promotion can be accessed. You just have to find out how. That's all. There's a whole streaming platform called IWTV, which streams nothing but indie promotions, about 150 of them. So many of your favorites are there. You got promotions like Defy and the like, who are operating in spaces like Triller. And here's part of the best part, which I think is so interesting. We're a community around here, right? So because we're a community, we support what a lot of people are doing. And what Women's Wrestling Talk has done for years has been supported women's wrestling all across the space of the wrestling community. Before there was an evolution of sorts where we had 250 women on the PWI 250, we were covering them here at Women's Wrestling Talk. So I just want to say to you that that's why we cover it, because it's happening in the world of wrestling and it is accessible. And if you need to know how to access it, we'll gladly tell you. All right.
All you gotta do is ask nicely.
All you have to do.
It's a direction you can fuck.
And that's the bottom line, because NXT Bonnerfide said so.
I was about to say, I don't know what just happened there, but okay. So speaking of women's wrestling, you've got, this is actually perfect, because you have on one hand Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. You know, Roxanne Perez is a former Ring of Honor women's champion, one of those promotions that's outside of AEW and WWE.
And WWE.
And then there's Julia and Stephanie Vacour. Neither of them had competed in WWE or AEW. You saw a little bit with Forbidden Door and things like that. But thankfully, we have been talking about them so that when we get to this point, you have an idea of who they might be. So who are you guys picking very quickly? We got to hurry up because there's a whole situation about to happen in less than 30 minutes. So we'll move quickly. Who are your picks on this tag team match? Councilman, we'll start with you.
Never go against my client. Roxanne and Cora Jade are picking up the victory in this one.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. I knew that, though. I knew you were going to say that. I knew that. I just needed to hear you say that. Honey, your thoughts?
I'm going with Julia and Stephanie on this one for the win. I'm just concerned about who's going to pin who.
Mayor?
I'm so sorry. I don't want
if I'm being honest, Cora is Cora's the character that should eat the pin here, but I'm gonna do a complete curveball here, and we gotta take some steam off the sails of Vacour and Julia. So I'm gonna say Roxanne and Cora win. And I think what I'm seeing is building towards more of the locker room, like the NXT originals, whatever you want to call them, banding together against the other threats, which is the newcomers. And really, if I'm being honest, the NXT storyline has the best women's War Games match of anything going on in the women's main roster.
No shade.
So, if they were to do that, I hope they do that this way with Beta Influence, Cora, and Roxy against the others. But I mean, we'll see. But I guess I hope I'm calling Roxy and Cora.
He went there.
Wow.
Because I just think about who would be on Julia and Stephanie's team. Oh,
Jada, Lola, Kalani.
Yeah, that's
probably it right there. Man,
that's gonna
that would cook. That would cook. Oh my Lord.
The women's division in NXT is fire right away.
It's so deep. Yeah. I'm gonna say Julia and Stephanie. I didn't know much about them until they came over to NXT, then went back and looked. and they've looked like $1 million in NXT already, and I want to see more of them. So, no offense to Will and Roxanne, but yeah, we got new toys, man.
What you sounding like right now?
Dylan, clip that.
Courtney.
Dylan, clip that.
Oh boy. I'm leaving it to Courtney to save us. Come on, Courtney. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
I actually got to see Stephanie from Forbidden Door on AEW, and I got to see the promos, and she does deliver. So I got to see her, and I'm starting to learn about Julia a little bit. I am picking Stephanie and Julia, but I have a feeling Cora Jade is going to be the one that gets pinned.
All right. All right. So that'll go down. Speaking of women's action, Kaylani Jordan will defend the NXT North American Championship against a member of Fatal Influence. Oh man, we're gonna just roll through because I want to give Honey a chance to at least get a bite of a sandwich or something. That ought to be really interesting. This one, Tony D'Angelo defending against Obafemi. All I'm going to say is if Obafemi eats a pin on this, just send him straight to the main roster. Like, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. There's no way that Tony D'Angelo should ever pin Obafemi. Not even once is enough, but twice just seems egregious. But we'll see.
Twice will break my heart. It'll break my heart.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Is there a chance we see a debut there?
Of
who?
I don't think they give Oba a second title reign. I think he's main roster ready, but I think to make it make sense, there has to be another member of the family emerge that's like an equal threat to Oba. And just follow me here. What if like they hired Hikuleo or something like that, and that's how he debuts in NXT in the WWE space?
Hikuleo and Oba.
We know he's here. We know he's there.
What's his other name though? What's the other guy that was in it? Period. Bald head.
Giovanni Da Vinci.
Oh, Vinci.
What if he
keep Vinci far away from that? Keep Vinci far. Don't do that.
He ain't taking out Oba. He ain't.
No. They said as one in the family though, as the newest member.
Hold on, we got an interesting theory here in the chat from Jeffrey. What if Nikita Lyons is the one who took out Rizzo? We did see an interesting exchange between Nikita and Oba, where Oba is. I'm still trying, and I know I wasn't here Wednesday, but Oba handing Nikita her jacket. I'm glad that TK's not here.
Give me the milk.
Yeah.
Give me the milk. Give me the milk.
Give me the milk.
Give me the damn milk.
Can't be worth it.
What in the hell?
Who did that?
I didn't press that, but
who did that?
My hand's right here.
My man Oba like that Neapolitan.
Wow.
Oh
wow. Wow. Okay. And yeah, then Chase Hughes battle, Andre Chase, Ridge Holland. It all goes down Sunday as part of Halloween Havoc. Holy cow. All right. Here's how you can reach us on these good socials. Courtney. Wow.
That's freaking sad.
You can always find me here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on WWT Live. You can always find me here on why I think Orange Cassidy should be the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, because I will make a case to my client every freaking week. You can also find me
off, Courtney. You better go off, girl.
Yes, because that's one of my clients, by the way. So I will do it every freaking week up until Full Gear. You can also follow me here on You can also follow me here on Twitter and Instagram on @CourtneyNJ11. And I'm just laughing at this chat. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram on @CourtneyNJ11 on all my stuff. Also, I want to take a serious moment here on WWT Live to send well wishes to Maria, who is recovering from surgery today. She had to deal with a lot of a health scare, but she is recovering. And we wish her the best here at WWT Live.
All the best for sure. Dion, how can the people find you?
Yeah, over on All Star Fandom on TikTok and Instagram, we dive into everything. With basketball season starting up, we're starting up a NBA show, so that should be fun for the 82 games that we all played, where they all play, and all the way up to the finals. Also over on YouTube at All Star Fandom, and here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Sidebar: are they doing that in-game in-season tournament again?
Okay. Yeah, it's back. Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about that at some point. I'm pretty interested in that. Mayor, how can the people find you?
You can find me at the Whoop That Trick era is the only storyline weaker than finished Fable in the company. You can also find me at Twitter at Ced Says and on the gram at Ced's the Answer. Occasionally, you will find me Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and also on Monday Night Mayor, as long as Big Money TK cuts the check. She's late a payment, and I just want to make that known in front of all you guys. So the show is currently on delay for this upcoming Monday.
It's hostage. He's holding hostage.
Holding hostage.
Blackmail, bro.
Man,
oh man, Councilman.
You can find me at Finish the Fable on all socials. And Twitter and YouTube.
Y'all black, man.
And I'm excited.
Come on, man.
I'm excited to announce my new show, the Give Me the Milk podcast. Me and Mayor.
Yo,
this will be on WWT. This is definitely gonna be
the GTM podcast.
Yeah. So y'all look out for that. Thank you, Dylan, for talking about the merch. Can't wait to let y'all see what we got going on.
Okay. Honey.
You can find me here in 15 minutes. I will still be here at 8 o'clock for a Honey Night Smackdown watch along. You know, when the color's blue and you see my face on a Friday, you know what time it is. And of course, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays with the WWT Live crew. Also, you can find me at #blame Cody for everything, as well as you can find me in Wyatt Six City, and always acknowledging my tribal chief. Wrestling with Honey, everything on the socials.
This has been enlightening for sure. You could find me at bonnerfide across all of the spaces. You could check me out at Ashe Wrestling tomorrow night in Charlotte. Some amazing things will be happening. You can check out All Things All Caribbean on their YouTube page. Also, we had a brand new episode of the another indie promotion, the Nightmare Factory, which you actually might really be interested in. A lot of people having their very first match coming out of the Nightmare Factory. Of course, the Nightmare Factory is the training school headed up by Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall. Latest episode has hit on YouTube, and that I may save this for next week. There's an interesting piece of news I'm gonna drop on you guys next week.
Oh, damn it.
Next week. Well, I mean, if I tell you now, you'll probably some will forget, and I want to make sure we have a captive audience. So,
okay.
Next week, but I promise you'll enjoy it, and it'll be something. Yeah, this is actually kind of cool. So, I need to write myself a note not to forget. Next Friday, specifically. Next Friday. Yeah, all sorts of other cool things. Check out the socials. We're doing recaps and all kinds of really, really cool things. And latest episode of Southern Honor is also on IWTV as well. Another great place to check out indie.
I'm sorry.
What?
Okay, you weren't here for this.
Yeah, you weren't there for that.
We
got to catch
on
you
a
up.
roll, and all of a sudden, all right.
So to clear, we found old clips that we didn't know were in here, and Cedric found them, and so because we were looking like we needed some AEW clips because we felt like it wasn't like measured out, and we found some that happened to be very interesting.
Got it. Well, shout out to all of you in the chat. We appreciate you, Boza and Jeffrey and Dylan and Special Nobodies and Andy. Thank you for joining us, Lewis, and so many others. Christopher, Good to see you, Eric. Let's see, Jordan. Lots of just great interaction. We appreciate you guys so much because none of this happens without you. So until next time, remember, we've got watch-alongs coming. We've got post shows coming. All of the things as part of Women's Wrestling Talk. Did you know that we're the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet?
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WWTalkpod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.